What is up? This is podcast of, well, Pancake Marathon, where, you know, it's all about how you show up. And that's kind of what the topic is today. Because, hey, who knows? Maybe today's the day that you're ready to hear it. Maybe you're just listening. Who knows? Yet, this is another episode of Pancake Marathon. Are you a pan can or are you a pan can that can't? Who knows? It's all up to you. Maybe it's time you do, pancake style. Flip it over and start again. Because, that's what we're doing in our recovery. We're finally getting to be part of our lives. And maybe that's kind of the concept behind the Pancake Marathon. Because it's a marathon. How do you rehydrate? How do you refuel? And how do you keep going? It's all up to you. By what? Doing the next right thing that's in front of you. Absolutely. Practicing the principles in all your affairs. Why not? And at the same time, it's time to do a 180. Time to flip it over and start again. Hey, 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 hey. So what is up? What is not down? What's a little bit of horizontal? Well, let's talk about the vertical, right? Just do a flip. Because what this is all about is what? Recovery, right? And yet, getting to. That was such an elusive concept to me for some time. I get to do this now? What do you mean? I was already doing this. I'm here now. What are you talking about? Yet, getting to. How do you get to do something? In recovery, isn't it that if you're using basically not actively being part of your life, making conscious contact to improve your own understanding of something, right? Finding a way of losing your peace of mind in and of itself, to say simply, what is that about? How do you do that? And then where do you go from here? That's always what it's been about, to be an active part of your recovery, to get to. And so, to be honest, I was like, oh, I kind of don't want to do this right now. Like, I had that instant of, I'll do something else. And it's like, what? Why? What else am I going to do? What else am I going to do? If I don't show up, I don't get to, right? And that's kind of another concept of getting to, because you showed up and you get to. So this whole concept of getting to, it's almost out of fact of itself that with my whole learned behavior and wisdom of in and of itself, because you can be learned in others, absolutely, right? That's a whole entire thing. Yet when it comes down to it, when it absolutely comes down to it, are you learned in so much of others that you forget to be part of your life? That you're putting yourself in debt? Almost at a point where you're driving yourself crazy, attempting and trying to get somebody else to want it. And yet, if you're or if you have that wisdom, right? That actuality of what it is to be wise in yourself, to know yourself, to have those boundaries, which we could call it healthy boundaries. Yeah, that's just what a boundary is, right? It is healthy. And the only way that it becomes unhealthy is if you don't stick to it, So I have this printout because I got a printer because I get to be part of my life again, right? And I get to be a sponsor and all that kind of stuff, right? Because maybe that's what gets me to be sober, right? It's part of my ingredient, the whole concept of the Pancake Marathon, right? This is how I rehydrate. This is how I refuel. This is how I get to. And in and of itself, to simply say, because there was a point where, yeah, okay, so I'm in a halfway house, right? I really am. I really, really am. I'm halfway there. And to be Pacific, I'm in a 3/4 house. How did I get there? Because I put the work in, and I get to be, and I made that progress and all that kind of stuff, right? Progress around spiritual lines. Because this is a spiritual program, absolutely, in and of itself. And so, as this printout says, basically, it says it's about, choices. Okay. And so you must choose because it's up to you. This whole entire recovery concept, notion, and theme is you taking action. Stop acting like someone's going to come save you because no one's going to take care of you better than yourself, right? Yeah, you can be learned and they can be learned in others, right? Yet the wisdom to know the difference, right? Grant me the serenity. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, right? It's God, okay, higher power, whatever that may be, right? To you. Grant me the serenity, a peace of mind in and of itself, the courage to know the difference, learned behavior in others, right? To not control, to manipulate, to have these expectations on others, because expectations on others is a demand. Absolutely. And who's super good at demanding things from others and having control in and of itself of others is a narcissist. They're so ordinary, they can't even stand it. You're so above and beyond them because you are you. And they don't even know who they are. They've never worked on themselves. They're Batman. Absolutely. And so, as this reading, as I print it out, because I get to be part of my life, I get to do these things, right? I'm not using. Because if you absolutely calculate that, all the time that it took to use, what is going on? You would, okay, so if you smoke marijuana, right? From, MA in of itself, Marijuana is Anonymous, right? Because it's a thing. There's over 220 12-step recovery programs. What is your flavor? How do you relate? What kind of ingredient in your whole thing of your pancake, right? And sometimes you've got to flip it. That's, the whole pancake theory, don't strip, don't take away, just keep adding. Do what Tradition 5 is all about. Keep adding your message and keep carrying it through the, what is Tradition 4. Don't focus on the pain or what is the solution, and then, keep adding value and let it run and accept if it doesn't do those things, right? And so the reading as it is, choose. You must choose. Do you wish to see or perceive nothing? Or do you want to see things as they really are? It is not hard to see things as they really are. It is simply a matter of tearing down walls, ridding ourselves of our own defenses, resistance, and presumptions, making ourselves a vulnerable, an idiot, a fool. At the same time, it is not easy to see things as they really are, because it is painful. It is often painful. It is real. It requires response. It's an incredible commitment. To go 9/10 of the way is to suffer at every moment utter madness. To go all the way is to become sane. I do not fix my problems. I fix my thinking, and then those problems fix themselves. Unity is our first glimpse at out of self-obsession. It begins with the willingness to be honest and teaches us to listen with an open mind and an open heart to those around us. We are generally pleased to see a former enemy seeking a new way of life in recovery, and even more amazed when the person helps us through a difficult situation. We feel immense joy at seeing an addict begin to recover. one in the purest expectations of goodwill. In NA is our heartfelt desire for the newcomer to have freedom. Sometimes it's more genuine than our hope for ourselves. When that desire takes hold, we feel compelled to clear away any distractions between the newcomer and the message. Sometimes you have to make the decision that will break your heart but give you peace to your soul. Words will just words will just words will just be words until you bring them to life. One day, the seemingly insignificant little things you start doing to better yourself add up and significantly change your life. Maybe I am ready to choose. I am a lantern of light, to light the way home or to hold hope for the hopeless. To choose. And that's what it comes down to. How do you choose to be part of your life, to get to? This is a spiritual program. It's not religious. And in that means you get to be the one that decides how this fits into your life. And how do you relate? How do you find serenity? And how do you fill up your cup? Sometimes it's always all about telling the storm how big your higher power is. Because do you really think your higher power needs you to tell them, whatever they may be, your own understanding of them, how big the storm is? Do you really think they need that? Well, if you have ever seen the movie Serenity, you'll see at the very end, right, where the one of the characters says, well, I know you already know what I'm going to say. Now, the other character says, because the other character can see the future. Okay. And what did they say? They say, well, I know that I see the future and all that kind of stuff, yet I like and I love to hear you say it. Right? And so, yeah, okay, let your higher power hear from you, right? Don't isolate, don't use anonymity, right? Because in a sense of what is anonymity at its core, fundamental principle of itself, or however it can be worded, right? It's your ego. Let your ego go. Leave yourself at the door, right? Because you don't know what's going to keep you active in your recovery, keep you sober in the next moment. So there is no advice in recovery, right? Because if there is advice, then it would probably be religious. And it's not that recovery itself isn't religious, right? It does have a setup to it, right? You have the steps, you have the traditions, and you have the promises. You have so many other aspects to it. Isn't that a setup? It's set up for you to be successful if you put the work in. Absolutely. Yet, in and of itself, to say simply, if you do not leave yourself at the door and you keep on isolating and you keep on not using anonymity and being an agnostic upon itself, then you are, and you're stinking thinking in some way, shape, or form, you are still using. Because there are 3 kinds of sobriety, right? Just because you're not physically using, that's great. Yet are you meant emotionally using? Are you spiritually using and putting yourself in debt? So what is up? Okay, so this is kind of like a second part, we could say, because the first part didn't really record, in a sense. So this is like a continuum upon itself, to be honest. And I'm not sure what was said before, because I'm not really going to listen to it. Because, there's a point. The point of just stop not reaching perfection. Getting to get back to myself. right? Getting to do this, getting to do that, all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. So, the simple fact of the matter, it is of getting to, right? Now, I did recall, and I do recall, and I'm going to say it now, about the fact of, well, you know, getting to be part of your life and getting to share and communicate that you're done and you're ready. When you are, say that you're done and you're ready to stop using, you're 100% truthful. You are absolutely 100% done using, right? It comes down to how do you get to keep having that, right? Having that ability to be 100% done by doing the next right thing, which is what with what's in front of you. Absolutely, right? It does come down to that simple fact, right? Not holding on to expectations of the past and all that kind of stuff, that control, that pain, that memory in and of itself. That your attitude will set you free. Mental or physical is and can be a prison, yet your attitude will always set you free. No matter how you look at it, no matter what context of the definition you are referring to and in and of itself. Absolutely not. The point of, focusing on the messenger, right? It's never about that. You don't target the messenger, you focus on the message, right? Because, there's a point where it's like, yeah, maybe you get to meet your hero, but then are you going to get to beat them up because they didn't add up to your expectations of whatever box and words or whatever concepts that you're working with? Did you reparent yourself yet? Did you put the work in, to heal yourself, right? Or are you just going to go about it being like Batman, right? So serious, blowing up the world with the first one that you see as a villain, right? Or are you going to be like the Joker, which is really the hero of Batman and Robin? Absolutely. Why so serious? I'm communicating. Let's communicate together. Let's find and work together, right? Unity. Absolutely, right? And so you never focus on the message, you focus on the message, right? That's really what it's about. Absolutely. 100,000, whatever matter of what it can be. So, this is the conclusion of this episode, of this podcast, or what it may be, right? Of feeling loved and knowing that you get to. I really do hope that I line something up for whatever it may be and who may come and whatever messenger this is going to, and that of the receiver of that message, right? And yet I absolutely know that I have more hope that this requires you to keep coming back to whatever it may be, to be an active part of your recovery. Because, I get to, and this is why I do this. This whole concept of sharing freely what I have. Yeah, maybe I might be able to interwove it into the definition of a business. Regardless if it's a nonprofit, it's still a business. It's gonna, acquire the income stream to come on in, right? To make a profit. Absolutely. That's what a business definition would be. Yeah. I hope I got you to feel that you got required to keep coming back. Maybe here, maybe to the next thing, whatever it may be. This is just maybe a season, a phase for you. And maybe the same for me. Who knows? This is my now. This is where I get to do something about it, to be an active part of my life and my recovery. Absolutely. It really does come down to that. Absolutely. Yet, I hope I did require you to keep coming back. Line something up, you know, in and of itself, so that maybe you're listening and upon itself ready to hear it. Absolutely. Be ready. Stop just going through the motions, being busy, right? Using, regardless of what form of your sobriety that may be, your thinking, right? There's three: your physical, your emotional, and your spiritual. Absolutely, right? And yet, you do deserve to take up space. You are loved, and your shoes fit just right. It's time to shake it up and breathe, Be you, and be willing to, because you get to. Have a great one, and I love you. So, before we lead up into the, closing out of this, whatever this may be, episode, whatever it's interpreted at the moment that you're interpreting this as, this is how I feel about recovery. And this is what I want. To basically, essentially get back home, to find unity upon myself, a peace of mind. Absolutely. Have a great day, and be who you are. Absolutely. Don't forget, your shoes fit just right, and you are loved. You do deserve to take up space, because you get to. Have a great day.
I'll follow you wherever you go. Stay close to you, 'cause darling, you're my home.